What's going on YouTube? John and Tony out here at our airport, and today we're going to be doing the final review on the e-flite Thunderbird's F-16. Today we're going to flip the script a little bit, and Tony's going to be the first pilot going up, so you guys can see how he handles this, and then I'll take over the sticks, and then if it survives, which I have no doubt that it will, we're going to do a comparison between it and the 80mm F-16 chilling out over there in the corner. Again, Tony's got his Viper demo team shirts on, looking good over there. We got the 5280 RC afterburner in it. I want to get your unvarnished thoughts on how this thing flies, so we're going to stand next to you and you can say as little or as much as you feel like. He's a man of few words.
I will say this is only my second time flying this, so...
He just flew it off camera to get his skills back up. It's been about a month since he flew last, so let's turn and burn. But maybe we should turn around and fly into the wind, huh? Oh, so there's a guy mowing the airport property all the way down there, so you might hear him coming depending on what happens. Flying this on a Spectrum 6-cell 50C pack. Smart battery, that is. It's always fun to be the cameraman for a change. Looks like it's performing really well in his hands. Of course, this man knows actual Viper team demos, so he makes me look like a clown in comparison. I just go up there and yank and bank, of course.
Wind's not really doing me any favors,
but you fly in the weather that you got, not what you wish you had, right? Looking good up there. We have a cold front moving in right now, which is why we have some winds. I'm from Florida and so is Tony, and it is very shocking to both of us, I believe, to see a cold front in the middle of August. But it feels a lot better out here than it did the last time we flew.
that's for sure. So keeping the bugs away.
Yeah, it really is keeping the bugs away. I don't think the gnats can fly in this wind. So what do you think about it so far?
It flies pretty easy. I don't feel like I can stall this plane. It feels slightly unstable to me still, but I don't feel like I'm going to lose control of it.
You want to use that wind to your advantage and give us a high alpha pass?
I could do that.
All right. The lawnmower is on his way over here. The nice thing about this plane too is if something does go wrong, it's actually not hard to repair, and replacement parts for it aren't exactly expensive if something isn't repairable. Looking good. Look at that. That's a ridiculous amount of high alpha. You know that, right?
The wind's helping me out.
I bet. Look at you go. Just steering with rudder, right?
Yep.
Nice stuff, sir. When you're more confident with it, you'll be able to bring it right above the grass.
Yeah, when I have winds that are a little more predictable, because this keeps speeding up and slowing down.
That's wind shear for you. We say that a lot on this channel, but this airport is unique in that it has quite a bit of unpredictable wind, and the wind that you do get often gets interrupted by trees making mechanical turbulence. It's challenging to fly in, and then on top of that you have to land on a 17-foot wide strip of pavement, which is not the easiest thing to do in the world. Look at that minimum radius.
It's kind of scary to see how close I can get to those trees.
I trust you, buddy. Wouldn't be Two Brothers radio control if I didn't trust you on the sticks, now would it?
I suppose.
You suppose? What's that supposed to mean?
22.25 volts.
All right. It's always fun zooming out and zooming back in and trying to find where you went.
I'm trying to think, there's not a whole lot I can do in this jet.
Yeah, it is pretty limited, isn't it? But it's a great beginner's jet. It does teach you how to fly. And because it has a very, very wide flight envelope from high speed to low speed, it's something that you can get into, and you don't have to worry too much about it breaking into 1,000 pieces, because unlike the Viper 70, this does not have a nasty stall. It's a lot easier to fly. It's much more predictable. It just doesn't have flaps. Although in our setup, we do have flapperons and we do have high G flaps and some other stuff from the F-16. Runway's clear.
Except for me.
Except for you. Perfect landing, man. Good stuff. Those little wheels like to tip over, but you got a good master of it. And we'll suggest that you fly with a lot of expo too, with the rudder. We use 150% rates on this jet, and we have 85% expo on the rudder, which prevents it from tipping over as easily. As I talked about in the maiden flight with Will and Kieran, the jet is very unstable on the ground and it will tip over easily. So you have to be careful as you go in higher speeds, otherwise you will dig the nose into the ground. If we get up closer, you'll see where I did it off camera, and the nose actually has a good little bit of red electrical tape on it. You won't even be able to see it until you get close. Maybe I can zoom in here. But you should be able to see the strip of it right there, assuming this thing can focus on it. But yeah, there it is right there, right behind the, right underneath those little radar zippers on the nose. And yeah, I mean, it's a good jet, we love it. But I don't know if, again, if it's suited for somebody looking for more advanced maneuvering. It's gonna be basically a high alpha monster, and it does other Thunderbird stuff.
These I don't like, but...
You're not a fan of the elevator tips?
No, full moving stabs or nothing.
Yeah, that's kind of our consensus too, but for being what it is, basically an F-16 sport jet, I think it flies pretty good. What's your verdict on it if you had to give it a score?
It's a good beginner's jet. I don't feel like I was going to lose it at any point. It does feel a little bit unstable, and the roll axis kind of does this as I'm flying, especially when you get slow. But other than that, it's very forgiving. I didn't feel any anxiety flying it, and it's easy to land. It just like at high alphas, it just ease the power back and it just floats down. So
yep, and that's what I do say to newcomers too. You don't need the flapperons, even though we have them configured for accelerated pitch maneuvering. They're just there to for the effect. We're gonna cut here, and I think I'll hop on the sticks and we'll show you what I can do with it, and then we'll give you guys a final verdict on this jet. All right guys, we're back. Now it's John's turn on the camera. We're gonna go ahead and get this bugger turned around. Now, of course, we do have the 5280RC afterburner in here. It's a really easy install. If you guys don't have one yet, I'm going to suggest that you get one. They look amazing. We're going to be supporting Larry with his small business. He's an awesome guy. I've been working with him for the past half a year, or actually, no, 8 months now. We're going to use half flaps for takeoff. We actually did program the flapperons. It will shorten the takeoff roll significantly. If you haven't done this yet, do it. It's worth it.
24.04 volts. Flaps gear up.
Right in the knife edge. As good as it'll do it anyway. We're gonna go straight up and over.
High G. Wing normal.
Right into high alpha. It's my favorite way to enter it with this jet. Come on, baby, stabilize. The nice thing about it is you can fight any of the wing rocking tendencies with some rudder.
24.4 volts. 13 minutes.
Just jam that stick all the way back. Some of the crosswinds we're getting here are definitely making it difficult. It's not like it was on the maiden day where there was almost no wind at all. On that day, we almost passed out from the heat. Let's try a barrel roll. I don't think we've done that with this jet yet. That was cool.
23.54 volts.
Of course, the wind just started gusting real good too. We're gonna go invert it.
Gear down. Gear up.
This wind is not helping these alpha passes. Come on, baby, turn. She was rock solid the other day, man, but it's not something you really want to do much in these higher winds that we're flying in. We're getting random gusts and swirls. It'll be dead calm in one moment. The next moment, there's a ton of wind and turbulence. It's just crazy. Let's go up and do a tail slide. You see that cold front moving its way in.
3.02 volts.
Trying to slide it, and it does not want to slide. That's okay. Again, this is an amazing beginner's jet, but do keep in mind that when you're flying this, it will instill bad habits into you. There's not a whole lot of jets that you can just hold like this. Like literally, I'm one hand right now on the stick, and it's not stalling, it is falling. Use the wrong rudder input, I should have used right, there we go. It's very easy to get bad habits flying this jet as a beginner because it does things that a jet shouldn't be able to do. Part of it's because of those fixed stabs. It acts like two sets of wings. The other part of it is just, I don't know, it's really well designed. I think Horizon did some good work when they worked with FMS on getting this one set up. We didn't even have to replace the servos in this to do what we're doing. This is all stock. I just didn't really see the point of changing out much of anything. I always put an extra receiver in sometimes, so I have a second antenna in here. And what I mean by extra receiver is I changed the 631 to a 637 TA, just for the extra telemetry assurances and for the connection link. But I mean, I'm sure it would fly just fine without it. Let's make an inverted pass, full speed, right above the grass. Actually, before we do that, I know the fellow with his tractor's coming and I don't want to hit him, so we're going to line up for an inverted pass and we're going to come closer to ourselves with this because I don't want to run into him. So for basic maneuvering though, this is an amazing jet. If you go into it knowing that and expecting that for what it is, it's like getting a Cub, right? You expect Cubs to do Cub things. Well, that's what this jet does as a beginner thing. It does F-16 stuff pretty well.
16 minutes, 21.93 volts.
Basically unstallable. I mean, in all practical terms, you cannot stall this jet. I did there only because the airspeed was so low that it got caught by a gust of wind. We're gonna catch up with the tractor. And we're gonna turn the plane around in high alpha.
21.8
As best I can. There we go. Coming right in front of us. Okay, now we have to get ready to land. This SMC pack is not very happy with me right now.
17 minutes.
So we're gonna go ahead and get her out, line her up with the runway. We would do a nice brake pass, but right now I wanna get the battery down. I'm more concerned with getting it down without it exploding. These LiPos do not like to be abused, and the SMCs, while they're amazing, are made of more advanced materials, and they do run the risk of getting damaged a little bit easier than some other batteries do if you run them down. At least that's what I remember reading. I could be totally wrong. They're amazing batteries. They put out some of the best performance you can get.
Volts.
So keep that in mind. I noticed as I put the elevator tips down, the plane started tracking to the right. That was interesting. At least it slowed it down quick. No reverse thrust on this jet. Again, my verdict on this thing remains the same. This is a solid 9 out of 10. Amazing jet. I love flying it. I love just hauling butt with it, just throwing full throttle, going around curves, high speed, low, high alphas, inverted gear passes, low inverted passes. It does pretty much a lot of amazing things. It's just limited by its lack of moving stabilators. But that's why it's a beginner's jet, because if those stabs could move up and down completely, this would be a completely different airframe and it would be a lot more difficult to fly, and you'd be much harder to recover from some of these maneuvers too. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the overview. Before we quit though, I want to go over this one more time so that you guys didn't know. These are foam hinges all the way through the airframe. We're going to open this up and let it cool down. I don't want it to overheat in there. These are all foam hinges all the way through the airframe. Unfortunately, mine didn't flex all that great on the elevator tips, so I did have to rehinge them, but that's not really a big deal, and I don't mark it against the plane in retrospect. These are all stock servos. All the performance you saw was on stock today, which is rare that a plane does this well. So I love how well this thing performs. I did give it the 150% rates, but none of the servos had to be changed. None of the push rods were changed. Nothing was changed other than just maximizing how much throw it has, which honestly, going from 150 to 100 on this is like the difference between 2 millimeters and 5. So it's not a humongous difference. that all being said, if you guys can get one, I would highly recommend doing it. If you want to learn how to fly an F-16 before you move up to the 80mm over there, that'll be my recommendation, is to start with this one. And you can get it through our links in the description. It really helps us out. We are now working directly with Horizon Hobby to promote their models, and they're an awesome bunch of people, tongue-tying aside. I love working with them. I think they're cool. I've been wanting to work with them for a very long time, and if I didn't love Horizon products, they wouldn't have been the #1 thing we featured for the longest time. So that all being said, we hope you guys appreciate this. It's an honest review as always. We strive to be as honest with you guys as we can possibly be. We will not compromise our integrity for anyone, and like I said, I love it, and I hope you guys do too. See y'all again out there.